So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans. I know I forgot to put us up on the screen there. How are we doing on this Monday night? It's not afternoon, it's not evening, it's firmly the night time tonight. And we want to do a little preview of Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace because it's on tomorrow. And it's a game I'm looking forward to, Paddy. Look, a win like we had at the weekend, and I know we didn't speak to you about it since the weekend, but a win like that lifts an awful lot of boats. Looking upwards in the league again and salivating and getting really excited about some of the attacking players that we have brought in, I suppose, mostly in January. But before we get on to the Crystal Palace piece, Paddy, talk to me about that game at the weekend. Obviously, pulling it out of the fire 89th minute, no better way to beat a team like Chelsea and to steal a march, I suppose, and the gap between them and them in fifth place in the league.
Yeah, look, it's great because it tightens things up, and obviously losing that game would have meant a huge gap between us and them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most important thing. But as you say, there's no better way than winning a game than doing it with an 89th minute winner, and 2 goals from our big loan signing from PSG, and who linked up with our big loan signing from Manchester United. So it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Now, don't get me wrong, first half wasn't. Second half was a whole lot better, and then got better again when the subs came on. So the subs, no doubt in my mind, changed the game. Really enjoyed it. Really pleasant experience for once to watch. Well, not for once, because we had it on Wednesday night too, an open, expansive game between 2 teams that wanted to go and win the match. So thankfully we came out the other side. We got our 5 points in the week. I think I said on before I'd have settled for 4, but I certainly wasn't expecting to pick up points against Liverpool or Chelsea. They were more in hope, but I expected us to beat Ipswich. So it makes that, like, I don't like going back to it again, but it makes it just that more frustrating, those games that we left behind us. But we are going to have to find a way to break down that low block and play through those lines. And somehow we're going to have to do it, because we insist on giving away the early goal, which is the killer. Because once that happens, it makes life much more difficult, especially against a team like Crystal Palace. Could do it very easily to us tomorrow night, like Ipswich did. But absolutely delighted and looking up now as opposed to looking down. That's the way we are. And look, the results went their way on Saturday, with the exception of, I can't remember who it was. One of the teams went around us, above us, got a result. Newcastle beat
Newcastle and Forest would have been brilliant. Would have been the perfect weekend for us. But obviously Newcastle beating Forest, that drags Forest backwards again, them being in third place. I
suppose the only downside is looking at we possibly have an injury to Tyrone Mings, but we do have the Sassy back. Hopefully they don't mind playing him on the left side of the fence, because he may have to. Yet again another injury. Look, what can we do? This is just a weird season, and we're still there. We're still fighting for European places. We don't know what that's going to look like in May, but we've just got to keep plugging away and keeping our chances alive. PGMOL did their best to stop us. Two very contentious decisions on Saturday, and 2 nearly identical decisions. The only difference between the 2 decisions was Ashley Young dived after he was pulled, and our lads just fell to the ground, as you would do when you're being pulled. But you'd have to seriously ask the question, what the hell is going on? And I have no doubt that if they give that Man United one in the morning, they would have had to give our one in the evening. So the two of them definitely went against each other. So
that's a stone waller for me. Like the more you see the replay of the penalty, like it's a stone waller. Like like it's a stone wall penalty when Keith Hackett comes out and ref support UK don't start giving him pelters underneath for when. So normally whenever now I'm not a massive fan of Keith Hackett, I will admit, but every time he comes out and he says something against referees, ref support UK usually give him both barrels for the rest of the day in all his posts underneath it, and there was nothing from them because they just looked at it and they went, "That's a stone waller," like But it is what it is. It is what it is. We still won. Would have been nice to win by another goal, get our goal difference up. But yeah. Look, that's it is. Hopefully, we don't have that at Sellers Park at the weekend against Crystal Palace, which hasn't been
weekend
tomorrow. Sorry, did I say weekend? I'm I'm a tired man today. But yeah, tomorrow, should I say? It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for us, really. Sellers Park, Paddy, always seems to be one of those places that we never really seem to get a result in. Now I've got no statistical basis to base that on at all. I just have a gut feeling that we just never seem to have anything. But no spoiler alert or anything like that. I'm very enthused about going there tomorrow. You mentioned about Axel Sassy playing as that left centre half. He's done that actually before. I remember when we did the scouting series for him, I looked at it at positions he's played over the last couple of years. He has played as a left centre half before, even though he's right-footed. Mings could be back in contention as well. He hasn't been fully ruled out. Morgan Rogers hasn't been ruled out. Maybe if they were to get a game, if they were able to play, they will play tomorrow. I don't think we see them against Crystal Palace. But look, I think the smart move is to put the Sassy in there. Just give Mings that extra bit of rest. It's not a big injury for him. It's just discomfort for him. And let him have that rest tomorrow. Have him on the bench by all means if you need to. But like you've got Bogart who's blossoming as well. And look, I'm not going to sit here and relitigate Bogart. When he first came into the team playing at right back and stuff, and people were very, very down on him and whatever the case was. And at the time, I think the two of us were always saying, "Listen, we got to be patient with this young man. Never played right back before. He's never really played centre half before. And as I said in the post match podcast, with Jay, it's just progression for young players, no matter where they are, is not linear. In the main, it's not linear unless you're somebody like Wayne Rooney, where your linear progression is just straight upwards. Some players have a wave in their progression. They have ups and downs, they have dips, and they have peaks and valleys and troughs. And as I said before, the measure in a man to be able to have the balls, really, I suppose, to turn around to Unai Emery and say, "You need a centre half, put me in there. You need a right back, put me in there. You need a defensive midfielder, put me in there." Man's only 21 and he's just absolutely like gagging to play football for Aston Villa. And that's a massive strength in itself, that versatility. And if who's to say he doesn't get a start at the weekend, albeit I think with the Sassy being there, I don't think we see it. But maybe he gets a start at centre half against Cardiff. Who knows? He's going to be an important Swiss, or maybe even gets a start at central midfield. But he's going to be an important Swiss Army knife, I think, for the club in certain games going forward until we get our full complement back. And he knows that. That's why he wants to get minutes under his belt now while the opportunities are.
His run of games has done him no harm, absolutely no harm at all.
Yeah.
In fairness to him, he's done well in the last few games, and that's why we got to be a little bit like, I know we've seen the defensive frailties of Ian Maatson. A lot of that will put down to the fact that he's not playing regularly. He's not getting a chance to play regularly because Luca Dean is playing so well. We just got to cut some of them a little bit of slack when you're thrown in like that at the deep end. I think Ian Maatson only played something like 11 games for Chelsea in the 5 years he was there. So, his Premier League experience isn't there. We just got to be mindful of that. And the same goes for Bogart, who's probably played more games than Ian Maatson at this stage or something similar. But I'm hoping Tyrone is okay. I'm probably erring on the side that we're going to see the Sassy at left centre back. I'm worried about their front three as a Sarr and Mateta. Will obviously
the other guy. Like as if it wasn't hard.
SA.
SA, yeah.
Yeah, and
He's in there
that
somehow.
sounds like a commentator's nightmare, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Kazay and
Scott and the
Essay.
Ezra twins. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, they have a strong attack, so we will need to be very strong defensively. I would imagine it'll be Matty Cash starting. I would imagine it'll be Luca Dean starting, and then hopefully the two centre halves will be strong enough to keep them on a leash. And we've seen all three of those players hurt us in the past. I think our fear goes back to the time when Kevin, nobody's friend, ruled out that goal for Henry Lansbury when we got back up into the Premier League. And nobody remembers that one when they talk about the ghost goal for Sheffield United that supposedly kept us up. But yeah, so I feel that we haven't really had much luck there over the years. Obviously, last year we took a spanking, but we were well and truly on the beach at that stage after qualifying for Europe. It would have been completely different otherwise. But I'm optimistic for tomorrow night and hopeful, because they do try and play football. They play three at the back. They go for it in midfield. There's just Rottweilers in there kicking your heels and annoying the shit out of you.
Lerma and Hughes,
The likes of Will Hughes and Lerma. Yeah, so it'll be an interesting game for sure. I don't envisage anything major happening with our defensive setup, and I think it's just a complete guesswork who we pick plays in that front four.
I don't think it's going to be as much guesswork as you think. I think it's going to be Ollie Watkins up top. I think it's going to be Malin from the right hand side, Asensio through the middle, and Rashford. And I think he's going to give Morgan Rogers off the bench, if he's fit to play, with JJ Bailey left to come off the bench as well if needed. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward there. Like he knows the. So Unai Emery has spoken a bit, like John Townley had a piece last night where he was saying about, he acknowledged, like you did, Paddy, there, that we've dropped points in games we shouldn't have, that we haven't been consistent in the league this year, but he's confident that we can hit the ground running and try and recoup some of those points as we go through the latter half of the season. Look, he has to say stuff like that, but that leads me to believe that he's willing to go aggressive. He's willing to utilize the squad that he has, and he knows he has to get results. So I'm expecting something like that, with Malin on the right, Asensio through the middle, Rashford on the left. But like it's a given that we're going to be starting Asensio and Rashford anyway, I think, because Marcus Rashford has been brilliant for us since he's come in. He's been absolutely superb, and he's going to score soon. He's going to score soon. So why not let him score down in London? But Crystal Palace, as you mentioned, Paddy, you're dead right. They're a team to be feared. They're a team to be respected, I suppose, more so really than feared. I think that's fair to say, because they've gotten some good results. They started pretty crappy at the start of the year, and Glasner's got some really good results out of them. Really, really good results, and they're on 32 points now. In 13th in the league, and they're progressing. They've got two good fullbacks in Mitchell and Munoz that we're going to keep us honest with our width. We know how Chelsea caused us issues with their width at the weekend. They're going to be looking at that. Munoz has afterburners in his heels, so does Mitchell. So we can't get caught out like we did against Neto the weekend, and they're going to spread us as wide as they possibly can. So we got to be wise to that. And I think the only difference I would have in the backline, Paddy, is I think he might go Garcia in this game. I think he might with Matty Cash coming back off injuries. But either or, they're good problems to have. Matty Cash or Garcia. I'm not going to be spitting feathers over any of those. Or spitting nails, should I say? Spitting nails?
Me neither. Me neither. I think what you're saying about how we're going to line up front is what really dictates what those two fullbacks are going to be doing to us tomorrow. So if we go with Asensio and we go with Rashford, we're going to pen them back, and that means a 5 at the back as opposed to a 3. So it's going to be a really interesting setup from both teams, and just to see. I don't envisage that they will sit back. I think they'll want to get a big scalp and get numbers on the board, and they're not that far behind. In fairness, what are they, 9 points behind us? Like, we're 2 points off Man City in 4th. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought that last Friday night when we were previewing Ipswich? It's nuts to be in this position, but yes, here we are. And we need the points on the board because we're going to have a fairly barren league run in March. So we need to get points on the board. So it's all of these games are cup finals now, especially the ones that we think we should win. And I think this is one we should win. And I envisage that our new signings will be the difference tomorrow.
British Mick asks, where's Onana? You never hear anything about him. Onana has a thigh injury, probably about 2 weeks away. So look, actually, and this is one, Paddy, that we discuss ourselves, because I have very different feelings to a lot of Twitter about a topic I'm going to bring up in a moment. But the other one then is about Barkley on the bench. Or is it too soon? No, Barkley isn't back yet. So the topic I wanted to bring up, Paddy, is that there's some people, and I'm not saying this is wrong. Everybody's entitled to fan the way they want, and they're entitled for their lust for information. But I've never been one of these guys who wants and needs to know what injury a player has. It just does not register with me whatsoever. And today we obviously saw that somebody mentioned Ross Barkley, and he tweeted underneath saying it isn't just a calf injury, it is MCL sprain, I think he said, and he's on his way back. He'll be on his way back soon. And then there was a flurry on Twitter of why does it happen? Why can't the club tell us that? Why does a player have to tell us? Personally, and once again, nobody's right or wrong in this, but personally, like, that's not a big deal. Like, I don't see any reason to give out about the club for that. I never have, and I've said this. I'm consistent with this. I've said this over the last 3 or 4 years when this topic has come up. But I don't feel the reason. I don't think that that's a negative on the club. The club don't need to broadcast the injuries that the players have. They just need to work on getting the players back to full fitness as best as they can. You know,
we're a little bit different in that regard, because I like to be able to map out the future in the coming weeks, so who's coming back and stuff like that. The club are dead right not to be broadcasting what injuries are, because you're giving ammunition to we all know that Ross Barkley's been out for a while, but there's been a number of occasions over the last couple of weeks where people have been missing completely. Like, Bailey was gone out of the squad. We're like, where's Bailey? And it was just wasn't spoken about. And why broadcast the fact that somebody is missing if you don't need to? As I said, it's all about keeping the opposition guessing. But the OCD in me and the way I like to look at football is to look into the coming weeks and feel a little bit optimistic about who's coming back. Like, at the moment, my optimism is how good could we be with Pau Torres back in this team? And knowing that he's only a couple of weeks away makes me feel happy. So I wanted him back for the Champions League football, because he is that cool head in there. He's obviously played many Champions League games and European games and international games. So he's the kind of head you need around there to keep those around them confident and quiet and relaxed. So I always worry about injuries. I always wonder how long they're taking and why they're taking so long. And you know, that goes on in my head as opposed to on the podcast. But that's just a little insight to how my brain works and how I worry about the weeks ahead. And I would always look at fixtures thinking, right, we will have Pau Torres back on the pitch for Bruges next week. Or we might see him for 25 minutes against Cardiff on Friday. I don't know, just to test it out. Yeah. We'll see. But that's how my mind works. But I really don't blame the club for keeping that as quiet as possible, because we don't need anyone to know who's coming back. The biggest miss, obviously, a couple of people have mentioned him there. Boubacar Kamara. He could be. Yeah, fingers crossed that we're not too far away from full complement, because I would love to be going into Bruges, certainly the return leg, with a full complement of players, knowing exactly that what we've got to do at home, and knowing that we've got to break either side of it as well, so we can go for it when we have it. So it'll be the first time we don't have to play games after Champions League games as well. So looking forward to that and seeing how that pans out with the rest. And it'll be a strange March, I suppose. Because even if we get through the FA Cup, I don't think we play till the 29th of March or something is the next round. So
yeah, it's there. Yeah. There's not a whole pile of games in March. Well, not a whole pile of league games anyway, but like depending on what happens. British Mick says not so much. Yeah, sorry. I hope that didn't come across as having a go at you, British Mick. Not absolutely not. No, I was just talking about Twitter itself and just the lust for that information. And look, I understand people have PTSD. I say this jokingly when I say people have PTSD over Jack Grealish's biscuit chins at the time. When we really needed him, he was absolutely everything to us at the time. And it was 1 week, 2 weeks, and then before you know it, it's 11 weeks down the line. You're like, shit, is he going to come back in time? Are we going to have him for the run-in, or are we going to, what's going to happen here? And look, there are some pivotal players like Kamara and stuff like that. Hopefully he'll be back in the next week or two. Hopefully Onana will be back in the next week or two. And Pau Torres, Unai Emery said that this week has come probably a small bit too quickly for him, so we should expect him see him integrated back in soon, and look, more bodies, more choices, and that's always good. That's always good to have too, as well. I suppose. Obviously, a lot of people here as well are talking about Boubacar Kamara, and Marine Boy says Kamara is due new contract talks. He'll probably want the same as Rashford. I love Boubacar Kamara, but he ain't worth 400 grand a week. I don't think there's anyone or whatever Rashford is
not getting 400 grand a week off Aston Villa either.
No, he isn't. No, absolutely
get that out of your head.
Yeah, but no, I suppose what I say about Bouba there is he's very pivotal to us. He's really, really important to us. But Rashford has X amount of England caps. He's X amount of 20 goal season contributions and stuff like that, and you just pay more for strikers. But I know exactly what you mean, Marine Boy, with that. Get the contract done, give him a decent wage, protect our investment with him. And the club have been no mugs in that aspect. They really have been. No, you can't force someone to sign a contract, but the club have been very good about dangling contracts in front of players and them signing them and protecting the value of players. So I don't expect them to not to do the exact same with probably our like internally, people who appointed him would say probably are one of our most coveted, if not our most coveted assets that are permanently at the club. So hopefully that does get done sooner rather than later, because we do not want him to tick down his contract and start, because look, he's done it already at Marseille. Much not as we love him, he's done it already at Marseille. He's let his contract run down and he's reaped the rewards of that. Get him tied up. See what we can do. Greg mentions here about apparently we're still in PSR hot water due to wages being more than 80% of revenue. Can't see us keeping Rashford or Asensio. It'd be great if we can. That's the European thing. The wage to squad cost ratio is to do with Europe, and they're only handing out fines for that. Until we kind of hear more on that, I'm not too worried about it. The PSR stuff that they're carrying over, so there's going to be another year of PSR, as we know it in the Premier League. They were going to bring in the squad cost, but you are right when you say there, Greg, that this year they had to do X amount was the percentage. Next year that actually goes down or up or down, I think it is. So we actually have to have a tighter wage bill to revenue ratio. But then again, we like our revenue could be, who knows what our revenue is going to be. So until the final accounts are released, I think, I don't got enough brain power to be worrying about that yet. Get points in the board and we'll worry about PSR afterwards. Yeah, but you are right in what you say. All right in what you say there.
Just looking at the fixtures, Neil. As things stand, we play Bruges at home on the 12th of March, and we don't play again till the 1st of April. Now, obviously, if we
there's an international break in the middle there as well,
Cardiff, and if we beat Cardiff, we play on the 29th of March. But it's a nice break and a nice reset to get players back, I would imagine, as well. So it'll be, you would imagine, touch wood, not picking up any more injuries that we will see a full complement towards the end of March, and hopefully we don't have too many going on international break and let them get a rest.
Yeah, that's yeah. A couple of tight hamstrings mightn't go astray. Yeah, exactly. I don't like much now as I want to see him don the famous blue shirt of the French team. I'll be walking behind Boubacar Kamara, clipping his heels for a week if he gets called up to the French squad, just so that he stubs a toe or something like that. And same with Onana, and same with Torres. They've been out for a lot. Like, we need them more than their countries need them for Mickey Mouse internationals. So do the right thing, guys. Do the right thing. You'll get a statue at Villa Park. You won't get a statue in front of the. Well, Spain don't even have a national ground. That'll tell you now, Paul. You're not going to get your statue there. Yeah, and Booba, you're not getting a statue outside the Stade de France either. And I don't even know where Belgium play their games. So that'll tell you now, Amadou. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. That's what I say. Anything else in the game coming up tomorrow night, Paddy? Any other observations?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything else that we can foresee at the moment that concerns us. We've spoken about Palace and their threat and attack. It's the defence we can pick apart, I'm sure. And hopefully our boys in attack are firing on all cylinders and ready to go again, because we need another big performance.
That we do, absolutely. I don't really have anything else to go to mention otherwise, but we will be back tomorrow with a team sheet tantrum and obviously a post-match podcast as always tomorrow. So please join in. As you can see, I'm stifling yawns left, right, and center here, so I need to go and hit my labba here. Labba's the Irish for bed, just in case anybody out there isn't up on their Irish language there. So just thought I confirm that one, just in case anyone thought hitting my labba meant that I was going to go out and beat a sheep or something along those lines. That'll tell you how tired I am. No, I'm struggling to try and end this podcast. That's what I'm doing here. Struggling. But thanks so much, everybody, for your time. We will be back, as I said, tomorrow with a team sheet tantrum and a post-match podcast. So join us for that, and hopefully we'll be talking very much so about an Aston Villa win and Aston Villa continuing their upward trajectory in the Premier League. So in the meantime, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.